Welcome, everybody. It is Debbie Foster, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I want to welcome you here today to Creating Cards with Debbie. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching me on Facebook, be sure that you hit the share button. And I think there's a share button on the YouTube channel too. But let me go ahead and put my camera down to my desktop, and we'll go ahead and get started here. Today is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. And we've got some news going on for today. Let me see. That looks pretty good. Okay, so like I said, I'm creating cards with Debbie. And if you want to shop any items in our store today, I guess I kind of jumped ahead of myself. Let me back up. If you want to shop any items in my store today, you can click on that website that's scrolling across the bottom of my screen. It's www.debbiefoster.stampinup.net. And if your order is goodness, it's a Monday. I can't even, my tongue won't even work. So if your order is under $150, you want to use the March 2025 host code, which is also scrolling across the bottom of the screen, and it is AJGSRVHY. So I don't know why that was so hard to spit out. All right, so I'm probably messing up today. It's a Monday. Let me talk about our paper pumpkin kit for the month of March. It's called Daisy Daydream. And you've got until March 10th to sign up for that. And what you get with this kit is an extra stamp set that comes with it. So you'll get 2 stamp sets instead of just one. And it says, send sweet greetings with gorgeous cards featuring bees, honeycomb, and daisies. It makes 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs with 9 coordinating envelopes, specialty gold foil and pre-cut vellum accents, unique pre-cut paper pieces. And the Stampin' Spot that comes with this is going to be the Lost Lagoon. And the kit comes in a beautiful box with a free additional stamp set, like I said. And Stampin' Up! For each quarter offers us dies that coordinate with that quarter. So we had January. Oops, that's not the right one. This is the right one. See, I'm messing up really big time today. So here's our January one, our February, and now we're into March. And I have those dies here that I can show you better than the picture. So here they are. It's called Spring is in the Air dies. And look at all those dies you get. And the cost of these are $12. And the item number is, where did I put it? The item number is 166237. 166237. But you have to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber in order to take advantage of those. So if you subscribe to this month's Paper Pumpkin kit, you could add on the dies with that if you'd like. Let me fumble through my papers here. Don't forget, in my online store, we have a section that has the scrapbooking, and you can get scrapbooking workshop kits in there. There's lots of different ones. You might want to check that out if you're a scrapbooker. We also have new online exclusives that are coming out that started March 3rd, which is today. So you might want to check out those too. I'm not going to show those to you right now. You can look them up on my store. But I do want to tell you about our join special. Well, it's our normal special, which is $99. You pay for your kit, your starter kit that comes with free shipping, and you get to pick out $125 worth of products of your choice. So let me hide this and bring up for your starter kit, you go to that website and you sign up for that. You don't have to do what I do. You can just do it to get your discount, which starts out at your first order after you get your starter kit will be 20% off of your products. So that's a savings right there. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. You can either private message me or email me. And my email address is creatingwithdebbie179@gmail.com. And that's also in the description of this video. So if you didn't catch that. All right. I think we have all of our housekeeping notes done. I don't know why I'm fumbling today. It's got to be that it's a Monday. So let me show what bundle we're going to be using today. Like I said in the description, it's the memorable blooms and the dies that go with it. It's got 6 dies that go with it, and I've already got those out, so I'm going to just show you the papers for them. When I get my dies, I always put them on my copy machine, and I make a copy of the layouts of them so I can make sure if I'm missing any, I know which one is missing. So it's got this is the double one. It's got the outside, and then it cuts out the inside leaf and the flowers. So that comes with 6 dies. So get that back in my package. It's not cooperating, so we'll just leave it right over here. All right, decide which one I want to do first here. I guess we'll just start with the one that's in the front. This is the card that we're going to do today. And let me get all of my bits and pieces out here. Kind of crowded myself here. I didn't leave much room to work with. Okay, so here's our first card. It says, "You mean the world to me." And this is heat embossed with white embossing powder. And on the inside, I haven't got anything on the inside. I kind of left it blank. I might just write a note with it or something. I'm not really certain what I want to do with it yet. So we'll decide as we go along here. So let me got my instructions. I've got these all kind of in order, so I don't want to mess myself up here. We're going to start out with our card base, which is our bubble bath. And this measures 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And then it's scored in the center at 5 1/2 inches. Let me bring my comments up here. Be sure you comment when you come on, say hello. And it's always fun if you say where you're watching from. It's good to know. All right, so here's our card base. And then we've got this is our eyelet 3D embossing folder I used. And I've got our Petunia Pop. This is 4 3/16 inches by 5 7/16 inches. So I know that's kind of an odd measurement, but I just wanted a small border to go around. And then I've already die cut the center out of it, and I've already embossed it. So let me show you which die I used to cut out the center. It's this one here. It's that outer one that I showed you. And we just cut that out of the center. But you might want to cut out the center first and then run it through the embossing folder, because otherwise it might smash down your embossing. So that's just a little tip that I'm sharing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and attach that to our card front. And I'm going to bring my silicone mat over here so I kind of keep my work surface clean, maybe. So we just put our glue on the outside edges, and then I put a little around the opening here too, so that stays laying flat. Pick that up. I've got to put my fingers in it, of course. Wipe some of that glue off my fingers. And we're going to place that on the front of our card. Like I said, I'm going to leave a tiny, tiny border going around the edges. Okay, so here we have our front of our card so far, but wait, there's more. So we cut out another one of those, but I used the bubble bath, and then I ran that centerpiece through our embossing folder, which is the Plaster 3D, and this is an online exclusive, so you can find that in my store. And that's going to go in the center there, so we can go ahead and attach that. I could have done all this on camera, but it's a lot of die cutting, and I didn't think you want to sit and watch me do all that. So I did a lot of prep work ahead of time. But if you wanted me to, just let me know, and I could do a special video of it if you would like. All right, so there's the center. And so here's how the die is. It's kind of a 2-layer, so you can cut out your basic white, and I just used some washi tape to hold these two together, and I ran them through my machine and cut them, my die cutting machine. So it leaves you the outside, and then it cuts out the middle. And you've got this pretty flower in the center. So I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool and pop out those that are hanging on here. Sometimes I feel like I don't explain things very well. Especially today on a Monday, my tongue doesn't want to work right. The words aren't coming out right. Maybe I didn't have enough coffee this morning. Okay, that one's kind of stuck. There we go. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Our weekend was pretty here in Arkansas, but we're supposed to have some bad storms come in tomorrow morning. So not looking forward to those. It is springtime, so I guess that's the time of the year we got to expect the storms and such. And well, I guess I could have done this ahead of time. And most of that's not going to show anyway. My flower is going to be covering it. So I'm not going to get real intricate here. So anyway, this is going to go on top of our bubble bath layer. So I'm going to use my fine tip glue bottle, which I put Tombow in. I've used up the other glue that came with it, and I put my Tombow glue in there instead. And I'm going to put some glue around the edges. And maybe some on the center to hold it down a little bit. Chair squeaking against my desk here. And aside, bring our card back over here, and we're going to place this down on top of our bubble bath, the embossed layer. Oops, I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing here. This goes to this side. It's one good thing about the Tombow glue, you can remove it fairly soon after you put it on there without messing anything up. All right, so there, what that would look like. I'm brushing my trash into my hand, and I think I'm getting more on the floor than I did my trash can. All right. So I'm going to set those over here for now. All right, so next, we're going to grab our scrap of basic white, and we're going to do some stamping and coloring. So I've got my scrap here, and I'm using the large flower image and our black memento ink. And we'll close this up. I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp because we're going to be using it for our next card, so it'll be done. I'm using my Simply Chamois, and I've just wet my Simply Chamois, and I put it in a stamp case, and it's good to go for a couple days. It stays wet, so you can use it over and over again. All right, and our Stampin' Blends, we're going to use Bubble Bath, Petunia Pop, and I do Shaded Spruce for the leaves. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the Petunia Pop and the dark. And I'm just going to color the larger flowers with the Petunia Pop and do some shading. And like there's another one. 1, 2, 3. I guess there's 3 flowers there. Okay. Do the 3 larger ones with the Petunia Pop. And I'm not going to color all of this. I've already colored one ahead of time. So I'm just going to do 1 flower of each. And then we'll skip the rest of the coloring. I'll just use my sample. Save a little time. Okay. And next we've got the Bubble Bath. And I always start with my dark to do my shading. Well, some of those caps are hard to get off or else I'm weak. So let's go with the dark. And I'm just going to color 1 of each of these flowers to show you. And that little bud right there. So that's 3 different ones. Now we're going to come back with the light Bubble Bath. And each coloring our flowers. And I want to come back with my dark Bubble Bath here and do the center of that one I didn't do. And now our Shaded Spruce, the dark. And I'm just going to do one side of this leaf with the dark. And of course I'm going to do the stems. And just giving you a sampling. And with the light, I'm just going to color the other side of that stem, that leaf, and the center of her larger leaf with the light shade of spruce. And I already did that, so that's the 3 different leaves. And I've already colored one ahead of time, so I'm going to die cut that. Use our baby boss here. And what did I do with the dies? I think I took that one out. And here we are right here. So here's a larger die to cut out the flower. I'm going to cut this down to size so it'll fit through my machine. Up there so you can see better. And I'm going to use some washi tape to hold that in place. We don't want to get our coloring done and have our die move on us, so we mess up our coloring. So we have to start all over. And scooch it down just a bit. Well, what did I do with the top plate? Oh, goodness. Oh, it's right there in front of me. And we're putting it through our machine. Don't forget to check out the new online exclusives today that started today. Lots of good stuff in there. All right. And we're going to place this up on dimensionals. So I've got my take your pick tool. We're going to pop off some of those and put them onto our flower image. And maybe one more right in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to do a dry fit here. That's going to fit out to our left side of our card. But then I've also die cut a leaf from the Shaded Spruce cardstock. And this die is also in with this set of dies in this bundle. Now, come on, let go. I think it's hanging on for dear life for some reason. Let go. Okay, I got a hold of you there. And this is going to go tucked up underneath. So I'm going to bring my silicone mat over here and use my fine tip glue again to attach this to our card front. And I'm just going to put some dots of glue strategically around here. That was a big word for a Monday. And I'm going to grab my reverse tweezers to pick it up so I don't get glue all over my fingers. And I'm going to place that off to the side, towards the right side. And lid back on my glue. Take your pick tool and pop those dimensional backings off. That works best when you don't have fingernails. Well, maybe it does. There it does. And this is going to go across that left side. So it'll look like this. Pretty so far. And then you need to do some heat embossing. So I've got a scrap of the Petunia Pop, and we're going to heat emboss. So bring my supplies over here. I've got my toolkit, embossing toolkit, and I've got our embossing buddy that's got powder in it. We're going to pat that on there so we don't get any static cling. We've got our Versamark pad, we've got our white embossing powder, and it comes with a reverse tweezers, a brush, and the embossing buddy. It's all in the toolkit. You can find that in my store. All right, and we're going to stamp the sentiment, "You mean the world to me." So ink that up really good. And see if I can get this fairly straight. Don't look bad. Put our lid back on our Versamark pad and bring our white embossing powder over. Get you in camera view here. And we're going to dump that onto our sentiment. And I like to make sure I've got enough powder on all of it. So I usually dump it and then I dip it into my powder. And I've got a couple strays here I'm going to brush off with the brush. And I'm just going to set that aside. Let me set it over here so we don't blow powder all over the place. And I've got my heat gun sitting here, so we're going to heat that up. It takes a couple of moments for it to heat up a little bit. So I'm just going to let it run for a while and get nice and hot. And dropping things all over the place here. Watch as the embossing powder melts. Yeah, it's starting. It's got to get to a certain temperature, but once it does, it doesn't take long at all. Okay. You want to make sure you don't leave it on there too long because it can burn your embossing powder. You don't want to do that. So let me move that back out of the way. Show my arm here. All right, and then I'm going to take my guillotine cutter and I'm going to chop this down to a smaller size. So I'm going to try to get it straight. And scooch over just a tiny bit. And I think that's good enough. And then I'm going to use our punch, which is called the Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. And it's got two different designs. It's got one right here. Can you see that? And then the other one is a more of a detailed there. I know my lights are glaring on. It's probably hard to see. So we're going to slide our label in there. And we're going to give it a little pretty edge. You kind of see it. Got little ridges. There we go. And I'm going to put dimensionals at the right side, but I'm going to glue the left side down. So let me grab a dimensional, and I'm going to use my small dimensionals for this one. Take your pick tool. Make sure I've got it going the right direction. I think I'll place 2 on that right side and drop a glue at this side. Take off those backings. And this one I had kind of up here, so I think I'm going to place it right about there. And I made a bow already using, this is the white ribbon is what it's called. I already made the bow ahead of time. Just kind of gotten scrunched up here a little bit, but we'll get it working. And I'm going to use our mini glue dots to attach that to our flower. And I'm just going to place it right on the stem. Well, I'm going to place it right under the flower, kind of down in that groove a little bit, like so. And trim up our tails here a little bit. And next, I've got some gems to put on there. And these are the pecan pie and clear ribbon adhesive back dots. And I'm going to use the white ones on here. So grab my take your pick tool, get that putty end working. And I'm going to grab 3. I guess I used all small ones. And you can place them in the center of your flowers. So I think I'll put one right there. And another one right there. And I do odd numbers. I do usually 3s. And maybe one right here. Kind of in a triangle. All right. And like I said, I didn't do nothing on the inside. So I'm just going to put a layer of our basic white on the inside, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we'll attach that. But I'm just going to leave it for now because I haven't decided if I want to stamp a sentiment or if I want to just write a note. So I'm going to leave it not glued down because if I stamp it and mess it up, I can't turn it over. So we'll do that later when we decide to use it. So, but here's our first card. You mean the world to me. All right. Clean up my area a tiny bit here so we can go on. Oh, I don't know if I said, did I say? Yeah, I did say that that was the Eyelet 3D embossing folder that we used. And then the other one was the plaster painting 3D embossing folder. Okay. Well, running out of room over here. Okay, so our next card, we're kind of doing the same concept there. Let me get my instructions off of there. This is our second card. And get all of our bits and pieces out here. Okay, so this one says, "You've been on my mind." And on the inside, I did do the inside of this one. It says, "In case you need me, I'm here." And then I stamped a little flower at the bottom and colored it. So let's go ahead and get started with that one. The card base on this one, we're using the soft seafoam, which I don't really use this color a whole lot. I need to start using it more. It's kind of a real good spring color. So it's 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, and then it's scored in the center at 5 1/2 inches. And we're going to burnish that edge. And our next layer is going to be the soft seafoam again. It's 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. And I've embossed it using the Cute Crochet 3D embossing folder. I don't know if you can really see it on the camera. Yeah, a little bit there. So I've already die cut the center out of that using that same die that we used previously. And I die cut this out first before I embossed it, because otherwise if you emboss it first, you're going to flatten your embossing. So you do the die cutting first. All right, so that was with this die. So I kept the center of that when I cut it out. This was the center of it. I kept that, and I didn't emboss that. I left it plain because we're going to stamp our image on there, which comes from the Elements of Text. We're using this image right here. And I'm going to use, I've got black ink somewhere. There it is. Smoky Slate stamp pad to stamp the image. So I'm going to ink up our text image. I think, yeah, this is an online exclusive, so you can find it in the online exclusives tab. All right, and we're going to stamp that onto our die cut piece here and kind of matching it up. I'm going to hold that down for a moment or so and make sure the ink transfers really good. And it did. All right. This was our Smoky Plate stamp pad. So you kind of see it. You can read some of the letters, the words in there, but not all of them. So, but it's a good image. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this to our card front. And again, I'm going to do the outside edges, and then I'll go around the opening also. The edges of the opening. And this goes on the front of our card. And you'll have a small border going around it. Now, that didn't lay down like I wanted it to, so let me do some scooching around here. All right, press that down to make it stick to our card front. And we're going to take this layer and put in the center of that. And I make sure my letters are going the right direction, not upside down. And it fits right in that opening. So it'll look like this. Alright, and then we're going to stamp the image. I already stamped that, and we're going to color that using what is it, peach pie? Yeah, peach pie and soft succulent. So, I'm going to put that off of there. That's our next step. All right, let's start with our flowers. I'm going to start with the dark peach pie. And this one I didn't color ahead of time, so I'm going to have to do the whole thing, I guess. All right, but it doesn't take very long. We're going to do the dark peach pie for our shading. Behind the camera? No, not really. The center of our flowers, the shading with the dark peach pie. And a little bit more there. Did I get all the flowers? Nope. A little bit over here. Two, oh, one more there. I knew there was 3 buds. And come back with the light peach pie. Does anybody have big plans for the week? I get to run some errands this afternoon, I guess. But other than that, for the week, nothing much until, I guess, Friday I have a doctor appointment. It's a follow-up from my pneumonia and COVID that I had last month. So making sure everything's working right. I'm feeling a lot better. All right, got all the flowers. Now we're going to come back with our soft sea foam, the dark, and do our leaves. And again, I'm going to do the dark on the one side of those leaves to give it some shadowing. And the stems. And the veins of the leaves are all with the dark soft sea foam. I kind of went on the lines there a little bit, but I think when I die cut, it'll be fine. Did I get everything? Got this one over here. Now we're going to do the light soft sea foam. Color the rest of our leaves. And I stamped this on the soft seafoam cardstock. So if you didn't want to color this, you wouldn't have to. You could just use it, leave it the way it is, just stamp the image with your black memento and let the cardstock do the coloring part of it. I didn't. I decided to color it. That would be one option. Guess I should have had this done ahead of time. Would have saved some time. But it's Monday. What do I say? All right, I think I got all. Oops, got one more leaf to color. I think I got it all. Looks like it. Now we can die cut. Machine back over here. A bit of a frog in my throat today. Must be the weather. And bring that back. And my washi tape to hold it in place. I lay my top plate there on my table and I can't see it. So close it could bite me. All right, that wasn't too painful, I hope. Watching me color that. All right, this one we're not putting on dimensionals. We're going to glue it straight down to our card front. Using my old trustworthy Tombow glue. And I'm going to kind of put it at an angle a little bit. You still want your letters to show up behind it, like so. And then I die cut a banner. Oops, I've got a dragonfly behind there. Okay, like I was saying, I die cut a banner out of the soft succulent, and that comes from the nested or the stylish shapes. I use the largest banner. And I didn't do the whole banner because it's going to be shorter. It's not the whole length of that. So I figured no use wasting the paper. And that's going to go across the bottom, but we're going to stamp our sentiment on there. And which one is it? It says, "You've been on my mind." Our black memento ink. And hopefully I do it good the first time here because I don't have another die cut. So I'm going to center that onto that, kind of over towards the left side. That looks pretty good. And that's going to go onto here. And I could shorten that even more. So I'm going to bring my guillotine cutter out here and I'm going to shorten it a little bit more. So it could probably be, it looks like maybe 2 1/4 inches. That's about all you really need. And no dimensionals on this card at all, so it's all glued down flat. Makes it easy to mail. And it's going to go down this bottom right-hand corner, leaving a small edge going around it. And then we've got a bow made from, this is our Black and Berry Vanilla large check ribbon. And I've already done a bow, so we're going to attach that to our flower stem there using our mini glue dots, which I just had. Where did I put them? There they are. I put them where they were supposed to be. No wonder I couldn't find them. And we're going to press that down into our dot. And take your pick tool. Oops. Pick that off of there. And then I'm going to place it down on top of our stem of our flower. And I need to trim up those tails a little bit, at least that one. And maybe just a hair off of that one. And to add a little bit of bling, we're going to use, these are the adhesive back dragonflies and birds. So we're going to add 2 birds and a dragonfly. So 1 of each. We've got a larger bird, then we've got a smaller bird. Have the birds up here in this corner, and a smaller bird. And a dragonfly. Can go down in this area. So there's the outside of our card, the front. You've been on my mind. But we need to do the inside. And what did we do on the inside? Stamped a sentiment and a flower. So we're going to grab a flower. And, okay. The sentiment that I'm using on the inside comes from the Beautiful Butterflies. And it's this sentiment here, in case you need me. In case you need me, I'm here. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment, our black memento, and our image. I think I'm getting ink all over my fingers here. I gotta watch what I'm touching. And I'm going to stamp the flower at the bottom, left-hand corner. And the sentiment, I'm going to put it in the right-hand upper corner. There's a parting pad. And I'm going to bring back our Stampin' Blends, the peach and the soft sea foam. And we're going to color these flowers, starting out with the dark peach pie. And Give it a little bit of shading. And now the light peach pie. Finish off the flower petals. This is a smaller flower, so it doesn't take as long to color, thank goodness. And then next we've got our dark soft sea foam. And I'm going to color these leaves the same as I did the ones on the front side. Do a little shading on the leaves with the dark, and then come back in with the light. Here's the light soft sea foam. Everybody's quiet today. All right, there we go. And now we can put that on the inside of our card. So even if you're watching the replay later, be sure you like and share the video. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure you hit that subscribe button. And also click on that bell and you'll be notified when I go live on YouTube. So, and I think on Facebook you can follow me. And you should be notified, I think, of any new videos then, I think. I'm not real familiar with that part of it. But I'm thinking so. Okay, so here's our second card. You've been on my mind, with the cute little birds and the dragonfly. In case you need me, I'm here, with a little flower at the bottom. Okay, so we can... Oh, I guess I did color one ahead of time. I'm sorry, I made you sit there and watch me. It was hiding. Okay, so let's go on to our third card. I'm trying to clean up a little bit so I can find things here, maybe. Our third card is pretty much that same concept, but I'm using the Timeless Plaid 6x6 Designer Series paper. And clean up my mess a little bit, get things out of the way. Here's the card. It says, "Thanks so much." And on the inside, "I appreciate your thoughtfulness." And these are everything's from the Memorable Blooms stamp sets. All right, and like I said, I'm using the Timeless Plaid 6x6 Designer Series paper, and we're using this pattern right here. This has got a lot of patterns to it, and a lot of color choices to use with it. Okay. Got my bits and pieces out here. I think I did a lot of the prep work for this one too ahead of time, so it should save us a little time here. All right, we're going to start off with our card base, which is Calypso Coral. Let me get that out of there. Calypso Coral. And I'm using just a standard size card. So it's 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And then it's scored in the center at 4 1/4 inches. We're going to burnish that edge. And we're going to be going portrait style. And then I've got that designer series paper, measures 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. And we're going to go ahead and attach that to the front of our card. You could use the back side of it too. It's kind of a pretty pattern on the back also. Grab this so I don't get glue all over my fingers. All right, and we're going to leave a small edge going all around. And we're going to set that aside for a moment while we work on the rest of our card. Okay, we've got another Calypso coral that's going to be our mat, and that measures 3 inches by 4 inches. And our basic white that's going to go on top of that we stamp our image on is going to be 2 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So we're going to go ahead and stamp our image onto there. And we're using the same image that we used on the previous cards. So the black Memento ink. I think my husband has a mower running out there. I hear something. Okay, and then we're going to stamp that on the center of our small layer here. Okay, close this up. Oh, I didn't mute my notifications on there. All right, and this one I'm going to be using Calypso coral, but I only have the dark Calypso coral because my light ran out. I've got to put that on my order for the next time. So I'm going to use, instead of the light Calypso coral, I'm going to use the light Cajun Craze along with that. So we're going to start with the dark. And I'm going to do all the flowers the same colors. And I've done the prep work on this ahead of time, so I'm just going to show you how I colored each thing without doing them all. Okay, so there's the dark Calypso. And then we've got the light Cajun Craze. We're going to do the petals in. You can kind of blend those two together. All right. I think I'm going to come out with that a little bit and blend those, the darks and the light together. All right, come back with the dark and do our other ones. I'm going to do the bud with the dark Calypso coral. And let's see what else. I'm missing 1, 2, 3. I guess that covers all 3. And the light Cajun Craze. And I'll do the same with the leaves. Okay, for my leaves, I use the old olive. And I'm going to start out with the dark. And I think I'm going to do this leaf here. And yeah. And oops, I goofed on that. That was supposed to have been the light. Get my light old olive out of here. New package. And can I lighten it up any? Yeah, not really. I could do my color lifter and fix that. Oops, I got one right here. I did. Okay, and do this leaf here. Like I said, I'm not going to color this all of this image. I've already got it done ahead of time, but I'm just showing you how I colored each thing. Just a little sampling. Okay, but where did I put it now? So here's the finished project. And this is going to go on to our little mat there. I'm going to glue this directly to the small Calypso coral mat, and then I'll put it up on dimensionals. So get that fairly even. And then we've got our twine, which is a natural tones linen thread. You get 3 different colors in here. We're going to use the green. And I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to run a couple strips to hold our twine. So I'm going to start at the one side, wrap it around 3 times. And then snip that off. And now we can attach that with dimensionals. Put one in each corner and one in the center. Bring our card back over here. And make sure that we're in the right direction. I'm just going to go at the bottom right-hand corner, just leaving a small edge going around it. And want to make sure you've got it straight. That's good. And then we've die cut a Calypso coral cardstock, and we use the small banner that comes from the Nested Essentials dies. And it's going to go in our upper left-hand corner, but I'm going to stamp our sentiment on there that says, "Thanks so much," with our black memento ink. And we'll center that onto our banner. And I'm not putting that on dimensionals. I'm just gluing that straight down to our card front. To our upper left-hand corner. And I'm butting it up right against the Designer Series paper on that left side. Okay. And I didn't make a bow for this already, so I'm going to bring my bow jig over here and make a bow. Did I? No, I didn't. So here's my bow jig I'm going to use. And I'm going to make it a triple bow because I've got 3 strings here. I want 3 strings on our bow. And tie that. And put this back out of the way. Now I've got some twisted here. And I'm going to use a small mini glue dot to attach this with. The bow isn't wanting to cooperate, it's twisted. And place that off to the left side a little bit. Here we have that. But we need to add some bling. These are the Sunny Day iridescent dots. And it comes in the Melon Mambo, Pumpkin Pie, and Summer Splash are the colors. So we're going to use the Pumpkin Pie. And I'm going to use the larger ones. And get a hold of it here. And I'm going to place them right up here in this top right corner. 2, if it'll turn over. There we go. And a smaller one onto our, well, let's put it right there. Thought about putting it over here, but then I changed my mind. Okay, so there's the outside of our card. Thanks so much. Now let's do the inside. I've got a basic white that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And then I've got a strip of our Designer Series paper, which is 5/8 inches by 4 inches. And instead of going at the bottom area, we're going to put it at the upper area. And what did I put there? I appreciate your thoughtfulness. And I'm going to stamp our sentiment down in the bottom right-hand corner, or something a little bit different. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. And now we can attach that Designer Series paper to the top, knowing I don't have to turn my cardstock over and start over. So you really want to stamp before you attach it, because you have 2 sides to your cardstock. You're able to turn it over and use the back side if you need to. And let me use my grid line here to make sure we're straight. It looks pretty good. And then I'll turn that over and snip off the edges. Got a little bit longer. Now let's put this inside of our card. I thought I was going to need a new glue bottle today, but it got me through all 3 cards. I guess it was fine. I had one here just in case. All right, this goes on the inside of our card. Okay, our 3rd card. Thanks so much. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Okay, so that's our cards for today. Let me bring all those over here. We can look at them all. And let's put them in the right orientation here. Get them on camera. Okay, so there's our 3 cards for today, and that was using the Memorable Blooms bundle, plus a couple extra stamp sets that I threw in there. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure that you like and share the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate that. I'm trying to get my viewers up. So until next week will be, where's my calendar? Next week will be March 10th. I'll be live at 10:30 Central Time. And I might try to get in another video this week sometime. I just haven't put anything together yet. I'll send out a reminder everybody before and to let you know. But until then, y'all have a good rest of the week. Get some me time in there that you're able to spend some good time crafting, whichever, if it's card making or paper crafting or scrapbooking, whichever it might be. So y'all have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.